On guys, it's your boy Guzma here, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew Builds. Today we'll be building a character from Grappler Baki yet again, by the name of Nomi no Sukune II, or as I like to call him, the original I like him big, I like him chunky. So, we've seen him do some pretty incredible things in the series so far. If you're keeping up with Bakido 2018, he is definitely one of the stronger characters in the entire series, if not at least amongst the top 10 strongest, and he is definitely a verifiable threat. And if you want to know more about the character, if you have no idea anything about him, I've made an overview about him on the channel, so you can go ahead and check that out. But for now, we're sticking to the Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew, and as you can expect with a character as strong as he is, you're going to have quite the tough time convincing your DM to let you use this homebrew, so I wish you the best of luck, and let's just hop right into the intro.
Why do I feel like I linger between the words to say the words to remember.
So to start, the most important thing about this class, the name. This will be called the New God of Sumo class, or New God of Sumo. So, now to cover the topic of the hit points. So, it should be no surprise that being a big, bulky sumo wrestler and being one of the strongest characters in the series, my man gets a d20 for his hit die. Yes, it seems pretty powerful, but it's not entirely unheard of, and, you know, you may have a big health pool by the time you hit, say, level 10, level 15, but, I mean, it's really all about how you use the character, because the DM can just as easily put out a monster that wipes out your entire health points, or can just kill you without dropping your hit points. Like, sure, it'll take them a while to get to this point, but if they were to drop you beneath 100 hit points, they can just use power word kill, and that'd be the end of your New God of Sumo. Yeah, we'll be using a d20 for his hit point die to kind of represent accurately his girth, his build, his muscular build. You know, he's one of the biggest characters, and of course he's a sumo wrestler, so he's really good at taking hits and not giving a shit. So yeah, he gets a pretty high hit die. And next up, proficiencies. Of course, he won't be proficient in the use of weapons or armor. The man's a Rikishi, he's a sumo wrestler, he is not a knight or anything like that, so he doesn't use weapons or armor. He also wouldn't be proficient in any tool, so we can just go ahead and skip that part. That's probably going to be a common trend amongst the Grappler Baki characters, save for people like Musashi or Motobe or Gaia. Then we'll be seeing some people with weapon proficiencies, but for now, we're just going to skip out on them. Now, in terms of saving throws, of course, being a Rikishi, his two saving throws would be Strength and Constitution. Now, I was thinking about saying, oh, you know, as far as saving throws go, you should probably have a saving throw in Acrobatics because it's pretty tightly packed into there with balance. You know, Rikishis have immense technical skill in terms of keeping their balance, but I feel like Strength and Constitution is definitely more apt considering he's known, you know, worldwide as like the strongman Rikishi or like the most powerful sumo wrestler. So his saving throw proficiencies will be in Strength and Constitution. Next up for our skills, we have our choice of two of these skills. We can go Athletics, Insight, Perception, or Sleight of Hand. Of course, these would be the picks because, of course, you know, athletics, you need that for lifting and throwing. We've already talked a bit about this in my Iwao Maniuchi homebrew build. Of course, he's a judoka, so he's also very throw-centric as in terms of, like, his character. So for the judoka class, there was a lot of stuff going into athletics, and it might be the same here. We'll have to find out. But, of course, two skills would be, you know, athletics for his ability to lift, insight for his ability to figure out how, like, people are strong. He's able to tell that Baki is a verifiable threat. He's able to tell that Baki's friends are real warriors, stuff like that. He also seems pretty perceptive. And Sleight of Hand, that one was thrown in there to kind of represent his ability to kind of move his hands real quick to be able to do things. You probably wouldn't be using Sleight of Hand in the traditional sense for this skill. So my recommendation, of course, would be Athletics and Insight. Alright, Now, of course, we get to the part where I recommend you guys different things that you could pull from Dungeons & Dragons to kind of fill out the level definitions list. You know, things you could get as class features. Of course, it's going to be a lot of the same that we saw with our Judoka class. Things like unarmored movement, unarmored defense. That one is especially imperative. Indomitable would go really well with our friend here. Second wind, action surge, extra attack. Just, you know, I'll have a list of things on screen you can pick from. You don't even have to pick from that list. It's entirely up to you guys what you pull from Dungeons & Dragons to kind of fill out the list of class features you'll be gaining. But yeah, I mean, I'll have enough homebrew stuff on here so that even if you were to pick nothing from the original Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition list of class features from other classes, you should still have at least a halfway decent character. So, starting off at first level, we will be receiving Man Rikishi. Then when we hit level 3, we'll be gaining the Shikiri stance. It's a technique he would have. At 5th level, we are receiving a modified version of the martial arts class feature. Of course, we received the class feature martial arts in the monk class, but I've modified it to fit Nomi specifically. Of course, I did the same for our Judoka friend, so of course in the new God of Sumo, we will now be having Nomi's version of this. On 7th level, to accurately represent his ability to shadow box, similarly to Baki with an imaginary opponent, he will be gaining an ability, a class feature, referred to as Imaginary Training. At 9th level, we gain another technique, the Inner Thigh Throw. At 11th level, we gain a reactionary class feature called the Kawazugake. At 13th level, we learn the Sumo Stomp, also known as the Shiko or the Shikawashi. At 15th level, we gain an ability called Sumo Lift. At 17th level, we gain the ability to tackle the opponent. And finally, at 19th level, we gain New God's Grip. And you might be thinking to yourself, but Christian, those names mean absolutely nothing to me because I have no idea what you just created in your mind. And I would say to you, shut up, I'm about to tell you. Yeah, got him. So, starting with Strongman Rikishi, as a master of ancient sumo, your striking power and grapple strength are almost peerless. Your strength ability score is increased by 1 with a maximum of 20 points, and you are now proficient in athletics strength checks. Pretty run-of-the-mill basic ability that, of course, a sumo wrestler would be getting. I wouldn't even limit that to, specifically Nomi, but that's, of course, it goes with his shtick of being a sumo wrestler. You have to be able to, hit hard and lift good, so... Next up, his first technique, the Shikiri stance. The stance a Rikishi takes at the beginning of a Tai Chi. You get your legs in a wide stance and lower your torso to the ground, with your arms extended downwards and your knuckles hovering above the ground. As a bonus action, you can take this stance before attacking. If you do so, you can attack the target with a charge attack, which has the range of a dash action, according to your character, and nobody can use a reaction that takes place before or during the attack. You also add proficiency to the attack's damage. So, of course, to represent the fact that it's an extremely fast, short burst dash, you can go a fair bit of distance because you're kind of exploding. You're exploding towards your opponent. You're dashing towards them. And, of course, to kind of accurately represent the speed of how it's very difficult to react to somebody moving that fast, you can, of course, react to their attack after the fact, but you can't make a reaction that takes place during or before the attack. And, of course, because you're dashing at the person and you're probably hitting them a little bit harder than as you normally would, you gain a little bit more damage with your proficiency. Next up, we have Nomi's version of martial arts. At 5th level, your practice of martial arts gives you mastery of ancient sumo that use unarmed strikes and throws. You gain the following benefits while you are unarmed and you aren't wearing armor or wielding a shield. You can use dexterity instead of strength for attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and throws. You can roll a d4 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strikes or throws. This die changes as you gain new God of Sumo levels, as shown in the martial arts column of the monk table. Finally, when you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a throw on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you take the attack action and throw the target, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you haven't already taken a bonus action this turn. So it's all pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. You're allowed to use dexterity for throws, as well as just strikes and or unarmed strikes and attacks, whatever. That's kind of representing the technical aspect of sumo and how they can, throw people like submissions, like armbar submissions they have, like the kotanagi and stuff like that. It's about being technical more so than just brute strength. Of course, your unarmed strikes are getting stronger and stronger as you progress with the new God of Sumo levels. And of course, with your last ability for this modified version of martial arts, you're able to hit somebody and then take a bonus action to hit them again. Or you can throw someone and hit them again. So how I see that being extremely useful is you could, later on we'll discuss, he'll be getting an ability called the Sumo Stomp, the Shiko, the Shikawashi. I mentioned it prior. Basically, what would be a really cool combo to use here is if you were to throw somebody, you were to use like your athletics to grapple and then subsequently throw the person, and while they're prone, you can use the Shikawashi, you can use the Sumo Stomp and stomp on them. We actually see something similar to this, not quite the same because he kicks him in the stomach and knocks him on the ground, but we see Nomi no Sukune, the original, do something similar to Keihaya when he's fighting him in the Grappler Baki manga. He actually Sumo stomped his lumbar, killing him instantly. So something similar to that I think could be really cool. Next up we have his ability Imaginary Training. I don't know if a lot of people are going to use this, but I think it's a pretty decent ability. I tried to do my best balancing it and making it worth actually using. But then again, there's a lot of abilities and class features in actual 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons that are kind of useless. True Strike, I'm looking at you. In any case, Imaginary Training. After 30 minutes to an hour, you can grapple with an imaginary opponent for practice. At the cost of 1 stage of fatigue, you can add your Wisdom modifier to any athletics strength checks made to initiate or maintain a grapple, as well as saving throws against grapples, or checks and saving throws to throw a target / prevent a target from throwing you. Now, of course, the buff you gain from this ability doesn't last forever. I mean, there'd really be no point in using it multiple times. It has a cost of 1 stage of fatigue, I'm just gonna rest to regain my fatigue, and I'll have my infinite Wisdom modifier to athletics checks, It doesn't really work like that. That's super busted and kind of stupid. So, of course, it would only last for your next athletics check to initiate or maintain a grapple, saving throws for grapples, etc., etc. It only lasts 1 time, so your balance is 1 stage of fatigue equals 1 Wisdom modifier for an athletics check, so you can use it sparingly. There's also the fact that it's after 30 minutes to an hour of grappling. So it's decent, but it's probably not a highlight of this class. And would you look at that, we've finally gotten to our next technique, the Inner Thigh Throw. After successfully grappling the target, as a bonus action, you can perform a second grapple check. In doing so, you bring your opponent to your side, facing the same direction. Extend your leg in front of theirs and attempt to pull them over your leg. If successful, the target is now prone and takes 2d2 bludgeoning damage. So you're basically like grabbing them and forcing them to trip over your leg. That's pretty much what the Inner Thigh Throw is. The damage is low, but it's a good, quick way to get somebody prone, so you can basically start pummeling them. You now have, advantage on attack rolls. If you hit them, it's a crit, I do believe. I am not looking at the prone condition right in front of me right now, but I do believe that is the case, and if it is, of course, that's a pretty decent bonus action you can make. Next up, our reactionary class feature, the Kawazugake. This one's a little bit interesting, and I think I handled it pretty well. When I was looking at the ability, I wasn't sure how I was going to convert it into Dungeons & Dragons, and it seems a little niche, but then again, the move itself is pretty niche. So I think I did a pretty good job, like at least a half-decent job of converting it into something for Dungeons & Dragons, but I digress. When being grappled or thrown, you wrap your leg around the targets, causing them to trip. When failing a check to prevent a grapple or throw, you instead succeed, tripping the target prone and landing on them, dealing 4d2 bludgeoning damage plus your weight. So, you know, being Nomi, that's actually like 600 pounds. Actually, scratch that. That seems like a really bad idea. Let's just do 2d4 bludgeoning damage. I don't know if I want to be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be a new god of Sumo Goliath, and as my reaction, I instantly kill you because you attempted a grapple on me. I don't know if I'm really down with making that as powerful as it is. I was not thinking in hindsight. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that Nomi's like 600 pounds. That's 600 points of damage at like a minimum, or 601 points of damage. Actually, no, it'd be 604. 604 points of damage as a minimum. No, I don't think I'm gonna do that. So it'll just be 4d2 bludgeoning damage. And we're gonna roll on to the next ability he gains, next class feature, and it's another technique, the Shikawashi. As an attack action, you can perform a Shiko Sumo Stomp. The attack causes a minor earthquake, forcing all within 20 feet to roll an acrobatics dexterity saving throw or fall prone. If this is performed on a proned target, you may add your proficiency to the attack roll. This attack deals 6d4 bludgeoning damage. If held for an hour, Shiko turns into Shikawashi, and after filling your limbs with ki, it has the additional effect of inflicting fear on undead, fiends, and evil humanoids and monstrosities. So yeah, of course, the normal sumo Shiko, you just stomp the ground, you lift your leg way high in the air, you stomp the ground. I don't believe it's used traditionally speaking in real life. I don't believe it's used for actual combat, but in Baki, it is something that we do see the first Nomi use to kill Keihaya, so it does have combat applicable, use to it. Of course, when we see Nomi performing it in front of Tokugawa's house, at the Tokugawa Manor, it's literally causing the entire house to shake. Tokugawa thinks it's an earthquake. Shumei Kano, his top bodyguard, also thinks it's an earthquake. Like, the dude is shaking the whole plot of land. So yeah, to say, like, the least, I didn't want to make it too busted, like, oh, it covers 1,000 feet or something. But I think 20 feet is at the bare minimum accurate. He was about 20 feet away from them while they were on the porch, and it caused those earthquakes, so there's that. And of course, finally, Nomi's version, when he holds it up in the air for a while, we've seen him do it twice. We see him do it, at his family ancestral garden or whatever, and we see him do it at the Tokugawa estate, where he, helps heal and nourish the jinsei of the koi fish in the pond, and they start getting bigger and stronger. He's using Shikawashi, he holds the Shiko position, the leg up in the air for like 15 minutes, and he slams it down, and after filling his limbs with ki, he's able to ward off evil and negative spirits. That's why, the trees in his ancestral garden are so big and strong, and they've lived for thousands of years. And that's why after using Shikawashi at Tokugawa's house, his koi fish in the koi pond are starting to get bigger and stronger. He's warding off evil spirits and stuff. So I thought it was maybe not combat practical, but a cute little, nod to the series. We're down to the last three, and we'll be starting with Sumo Lift. As one of, if not the best sumo wrestlers ever, you actually have the ability to throw yourself. When climbing even sheer surfaces, you can launch your entire body weight upward with one hand pulling you up, once with all of your might, scaling 40 feet with one pull. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, or if that seemed a little confusing to you, I'm probably putting up the scenario on screen that I'm referring to. It's Nomi's first ever appearance, I do believe, where him and Baki are challenging Scott Harris to a climbing competition, Scott Harris being the world's best climber, and Scott Harris is able to do really well, but Baki's able to defeat him, and Nomi just kind of yanks his fat ass up the entire wall in one pull, so he kind of puts them both to shame, and then Baki goes on some kind of diatribe about how the way he was climbing was a sumo pull or whatever, so he kind of technically sumo through himself, whatever, not here to discuss the semantics of it. that's basically the ability you're gaining here. You gain the ability to, with one pull, launch yourself 40 feet into the air, even on sheer surfaces. And with our penultimate class feature here, we have Tackle. After performing a charge attack, so like with the Shikiri stance, or if you wanted to take a dash action and then do this, that would work as well. You take a dash action towards your opponent. Nomi can choose to attack with a Tackle. On a successful hit, you were able to deal 62 bludgeoning damage and prone the target. So like, there's not even a chance for your target to try to hold you back or try to push you off or whatever the case. No, you just bring them to the ground. But that is to say, you have to hit with the Tackle for this to happen. And finally, the one that everyone's been waiting for, because it's kind of Nomi's whole deal. You know, everyone was like, "Oh man, Hanayama's so cool, he can rip through our deck of cards with his thumb. Oh man, Hanayama just blew up that guy's arm." And then here comes like Megalodon, Nomi no Sukune II. You know, if Hanayama's a great white shark, here comes the Megalodon that is Nomi. So yeah, New God's grip is to represent his grip strength, which is Nomi's, you know, whole deal at this point. As the being with the strongest grip, you could apply 100 tons of force with just one hand. Athletics checks made to initiate, maintain, or prevent a grapple, or to crush something, are now a guaranteed success. Now you may be thinking, oh no way, there's no way my DM's gonna let me use that ability, it's too broken. And I gotta tell you, I gotta, you know, put a little disclaimer there, there is a catch. And that this guarantee, quote unquote, is at the DM's discretion. And of course, everything in the entire game is at the DM's discretion, but if you wanted to use your ability, New God's Grip, at level 20, and say, okay, I guaranteed get this athletics check, so I grapple him, I can throw him, there's nothing he can do to save against me. If your DM really doesn't want you to be able to, like, say, take the BBEG, lift him up over your head and throw him into a volcano, killing him instantly, if he didn't want you to pull some shit like that, he can just say, no, it doesn't work. So that the DM does have that power to basically, like on brand in terms of the actual move, it does list that the DM has the discretion to be able to just say no to your guarantee. But if it's not that big of an issue, if your DM has no qualms with it, then yeah, you guaranteed pass all grapple related checks or like athletics checks. It's a really good move, and I think it fits that he has like a grip strength of like 100,000 atmospheres. You know, he's got a bigger grip strength than a Supersaurus has, you know, weight or whatever. He can diamondize a lump of coal with one hand. Like, this guy's got bonker grip strength, so I really wanted to convey that. That was like the one thing I was pouring a lot of, like, okay, I gotta make this pop because it's like Nomi's whole deal. It's like if I made a Baki build without him having any, like, martial arts moves. Be like, okay, like, what the fuck? Why'd you even make this? So that's going to be it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the character and the homebrew, and I wish you the best of luck on your persuasion check to try to get your DM to allow you to use this insanity. And good luck with building a character if you do use this. You know, I'm wishing you the best of luck out there. And I hope you enjoy playing the character. You know, that's my main goal here. My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody. But in all seriousness, I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. Just show me that you actually liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stick around for more of these builds. I'm thinking about doing Nomi I, you know, just to kind of give a little shine on him as well. You know, he's a pretty cool character as well, even though we only saw him briefly. And I'm definitely doing a build on Shibukawa, and you can bet there's going to be a lot of wisdom instead of strength stuff going on. So that's something you can look forward to, you know, builds for more Grappler Baki characters. I have a ton of more builds for different animes and stuff that I want to cover and go over. So, like I said, you know, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see when those things come out. You want to be notified, you know, firsthand of when that happens. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have a character you prefer that I cover first. You know, I'm going to do them all eventually, but, you know, if you have a particular character from a particular anime or manga or TV show or game or whatever that you want me to cover or make a character for, I can do that for you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making some more videos about these guys, and I look forward to future overviews I may do about some of these characters. So far, I'm only doing characters that I'm either covering or have covered in an overview already. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for watching so much, and I will see you next time. Peace.
Untitled.